and welcome to Yoka's Polka. I'm Yoka, your night owl, and I hope you enjoyed that intro because I worked pretty hard on it and my arms are burning, but it's okay because why? Because we need strong arms for journaling. That's right. That was super lame. Anyway, so for this journal with me, I've wanted to revolve it around photos and memory keeping. So I wanted to show you some different ways to incorporate your photos in your everyday journals and whatever kind of journals you have. So I hope that I can figure out some ways to make your photos look really cute, and that way you can just, I don't know, have fun with it. So yeah, that's the main goal of this journal with me. So I don't know how many stickers we'll be using, maybe a lot, maybe not so much, so it really depends, but the main goal is just photos. So yes, that's the point of the video. Anyways, so let's go ahead and get started. Before starting anything, make sure that you have your photos ready. And I chose to print mine relatively small because I want my photo book to be pretty tiny. Also, the main photo that you're gonna need is a big window. Unless you know how to draw your own, then you can skip that. Once you cut out all of the photos that you think you're gonna need, go ahead and put it aside because we're gonna work on something else first, which is the background. Also, I'm just showing you that I added my July tab, so we're ready to go. Since I wanted to create an illusion of a desk, I took out my Recollections paper pad and I chose this wooden paper that I feel like it'll look really good with the photos. So I went ahead and put that aside for now and then took out my window photo that I printed. Taking my ruler, I marked where the middle would be with my pencil. I then took my paper cutter and cut where I marked it. You could probably skip this part if your journal doesn't have a spiral in the middle, but since mine does, I have to unfortunately cut it into two pieces. Once you have your images cut, just place it on your journal and double check that everything fits, and if something's off, go ahead and trim it. For me, the left side was a little bit too long, so I just had to trim it down a little bit. After checking that everything fits, I took the left side of the window and glued it down into my journal. Don't glue anything on the right side for now because we have a few steps to do before we get there. Also, check out how well this covered up the bleed through from the previous pages. This looks really good. For the desk, I'm taking my ruler again and measuring how big I want it to be. Since I want my desk to be fairly big, I decided to cover up some of the window. I then took the wood paper and marked where I'm going to cut. I forgot to mention that the window image is from a website that I found, and I'll go ahead and post the link in the description box in case you want to check it out for yourself. But anyways, going back to the desk. Now that the paper is all marked up, I took my paper cutter again and cut it down to size. Before going any further, I checked to make sure that the desk was a good size before going any further. Wait, I said that twice. Once I was happy, I took my pencil and marked where to cut off the paper strip so it would fit perfectly into the spread. I did that for both sides, and be sure to always erase your pencil markings so it won't show in the final product. I then took my glue stick and glued down the desk. Now that our background is done, we can begin working on the first photo idea. I took this sheet of paper that has different quotes on it and chose the one that says grow and inspire. Then taking one of the photos that we printed, which the one I will be using is an actual photo of my planner spread. It's so cute and tiny. I placed the quote paper underneath the image and began to mark off where to cut off the paper. The paper that you choose will essentially act as a cover for your photo journal. Once the paper is cut down to size, I glued it to the back of the image so it would look like a journal. And it should look something like this. This is an easy way to create a photo journal, but now I'm going to show you another photo idea that actually incorporates your journal pages. So it's a little bit harder, but I'll explain everything to you. So just like the first photo journal, we need a paper to act as our cover. I took this textured turquoise paper and cut out two pieces from it. I made sure that it would cover my biggest photo that I have. Then taking that piece of paper, I placed it at the bottom of the spread near the binding of the journal and began to trace around it using my pencil. Once it was traced, I began to cut around the shape. If you have a binding that is glued and not spiraled like mine, then an X-Acto knife would be easier for this part. Take your time with this part and make sure to double check that the page won't be peeking through. Take your cover paper and place it on top and see if you need to cut any more. Now that it's measured perfectly, we can glue the cover paper on top of the mini page that we just created. Our cover for our photo journal is complete, and just to make sure, I flipped it over to the other side to see if the desk will still peek through, which it did. That part is not necessary, but it's something that I wanted. Now we can create the pages for our journal. Using the cover as a template, trace around it using a pencil and then cut the excess off. Double check that the page you cut won't peek through the cover. Then taking the photo you want to use, glue it into the page. And now we have our first page. This is the same method we will use for the rest of the photos. So depending on how many photos you want to use, you will cut out that many pages. Take your time and enjoy this process. By the way, you might have realized that I had more photos in the beginning of this video, and sadly we won't get to them. I didn't want to make this video super long, so make sure to subscribe, that way you won't miss my journal with me. I will be including my other photo ideas, which I can't wait for you to see. I think you might love them. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Yokaspoka. After cutting all those pages, you should have something like this. I love how this photo journal is incorporated into our actual journal. It's definitely a little more time consuming, but it's worth it. Before moving on, we have to complete this photo journal. Take that second piece of paper that we cut in the beginning and glue it to the back of the last page. Uh-oh, looks like the manager came to see if I'm working. I think she approves, but I still need to finish this up. She's putting up quite a bit of a fight and still wants to micromanage me. Let me be, you fiend. That'll have to do. Going back to the photo journal, I decided that the cover was a bit too plain, so I took out some of my stamps and began to stamp the word photos onto it. It's up to you whether or not you want to decorate the cover. I just felt like I needed a little bit more, so that's what I did. I didn't realize that for the entire shot, Yumi's head was bopping in and out, so I had to remove her. Sorry, Yumi. Anyways, I started to erase the pencil line that I made, and this is where we can start to work on the rest of the background. Taking the other side of the window, I glued it down onto the right side of my journal. Then I did the same thing for the desk. If you are using paper that has a wood design on it, just like mine, then be sure that you are gluing the right side of the image. I almost glued my paper upside down and the wood patterns didn't line up. Once the background was glued down, I took the first photo journal that we made and I glued it down onto the desk. Make sure that you don't glue the cover of the journal, but the back of the image, so that way you can still open and close the journal. After all that, we can finally start decorating, and for this I will be using my Agenda 52 sticker books, which I absolutely adore the stickers. I feel like it went really well with the whole background and the desk. To give off that illusion of a desk, I decided to go with some stickers that had flower pots and some candles, so that way, you know, it's typical things that are on a desk, and I feel like it kind of sells it a little bit more. I also cut a piece of paper and glued it down onto the desk along with this tracker sticker. I felt like that was a good amount of stickers, and this is what it looks like. If you had enough, you can stop there, but I wanted to do a little more. So I took out my Tombow Drawing Pen and began to write little entries into my photo journal. This is completely optional, but I wanted to write about the images so that way I can remember what every image was about. I even decided to fill out the little tracker sticker just to make it look more realistic. And we are finally done! I hope you got inspired and will try creating these mini photo journals. And don't forget to like and subscribe because I still have a lot of photo ideas for your journals. Anyways, I will see you all a little later.